Check one, two. Hey y'all, Angie here again. Welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you taking your time. If you have been to my channel before and you're coming back, thank you as well. I appreciate you taking your time. I would love it if you could subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that you know when I'm making a new video, like, share your comments, and share this video if you feel like there's something that someone else could get from this video. So I have a little bit of a smirk on my face because I recorded a video before this one. And it was a great topic. I have a lot of topics on my mind, which is why I started this channel. I want to be able to talk about the meaningful things that I want to talk about. And so I decided that I would start this channel and I would bring up some of the subjects that crossed my mind and, share my thoughts just in case there were other people that had the same thoughts, opposing thoughts. We can just, communicate and have discussions about it. So the topic that I wanted to talk about was having community. Sometimes when we're on our personal journey, I know for me, when I started my personal journey, a lot of it was on my own. A lot of it was on my own because it was very emotional to start assessing and observing what my life had been up to this point. And before I get into that, what I want to say is I started talking about this in my other video. And I had like a little cue card thing because I have this thing where it's like, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too long. I don't want to be long winded. These are things that just go on in my head when I'm talking. And I'm noticing that that's starting to get in my way. And I'd rather not use the cue cards. Um, so for the sake of worrying that I will be all over the place in this video, I really just have to let that go. I want to talk from my heart about what this journey has been for me, and hopefully it will help somebody else to um to stay on the path that they're trying to stay on. When I first started this journey, like I said, I was doing this by myself. I was reading information, I was listening to mindset podcasts and conversations and discussions. I was just jumping in just about any and everything that I possibly could because what I realized about myself is that I have been living for a very long time with paradigms that were given to me. In other words, what we get when we're children. And I was living for a very long time with paradigms that came about from what we can consider our second family. And that's when you start going to school, when you start going to work, you start to get information from these people in these spaces. And all of this is happening before you can really get in there and form paradigms for yourself. So I started to look at that. I started to examine the paradigms that I had been operating off of in my life for a very long time. They were ones that were given to me in childhood that didn't suit me in adulthood. They were ones that I got during my school age that did not suit me in adulthood. And there were some that I got from the workforce that did not suit me in my adulthood as I, continue to grow into an adult that was in the workforce. And I got to a point where I feel like I was like, what is this? What is my life? I really felt like I wasn't in control of a lot of the things that were going on in my life. And let me tell you, if I can give anything to younger people, I would say that is a very dangerous place to be. It's extremely vulnerable in a way that can damage you in ways that you cannot imagine. I wouldn't have imagined the ways that that damaged me um, until I went through it. And so, if there was something that I could say that when you're young, it is not just important. I'm trying not to get emotional. It's not just important that you get to know yourself outside of those paradigms that you get when you come into this world as an empty canvas. It's not just important that you get to know yourself, it is imperative to your safety physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that you get to know yourself and who you are. Not yourself as a child, a son or daughter, not yourself as a sibling, not yourself as a grandchild, not yourself as a student, not yourself as an employee. Those are parts of you. Who are you? Who do you want to be in this world? You can be anything you want to be. We hear that when we're kids. And I really do think that when you don't have a support system around you backing up what the definition of that really means, you can find yourself as a young adult out here completely vulnerable to what the world wants you to be. And I'm telling you, I don't want to say it like this, but I have to say it the way that I experienced it. If you fall for that package, you're going to lose a lot of time. And I don't want to see you lose a lot of time. I don't want to lose any more of my time. So during my personal development, I got to a point where I realized I have got to get to know who I am. I need to stand firm in that. I need to understand that as I grow, that will shift, but I will still be me and I can still remain in the confidence of who I am. But quite naturally, when you get more information about something, you can do better. So you will shift. You have to leave room for that. That doesn't mean you're getting confused again or that you're lost or you don't have any, anything that you're standing on. It just means that you're shifting. And the more you get to know yourself, you know when you're shifting, you know what it means, and you know that you're going in the direction that you need to go in or not. And if you feel that you're not going in the right direction, you know to pivot. That's what starts to happen when you spend life as a practice of getting to know who you are. But the first thing you have to do is realize you have every right and all the power to do that. And the sooner you realize that, understand it, and believe it, the better for you. Now, am I saying you're going to have a perfect life? No, you're not, because you're still being you in a world where there are all these other factors going on around you that you can't control. But the more you have you to stand on, the easier it will be to navigate in this world of unpredictable things. So, as I've been on this personal journey in the very beginning, I started off on it by myself because there was a lot of things that was hitting me very hard. They were very personal, they were very private, they were very old. And I didn't really think I needed other people to be involved in that. I needed to sit in that on my own. I needed to look at that and check that out and be honest about what all of that was by myself. But eventually things got to a point where when I began to grow in different aspects and areas and I was observing myself growing, I needed a community to begin helping me. And one of the big reasons that a community is helpful in your growth is because you are able to draw on different experiences, different perspectives, and not just your own. Because when you only have your own, that's not a wide enough view to be out here. Not in this world. I learned that. That is not a wide enough view to be out here in this world. That will leave you way too vulnerable, and it can cause a lot of damage that you would have to do a lot of work on to repair. So, the earlier you get to know yourself and feel confident about who you are in this world, the better. So that way, when you encounter different things with people out here, you will be in tune with yourself to know what you should do next. Look at what's before you, pause, ask yourself a set of questions that you develop for yourself. Questions like, how do I feel right now? Am I being influenced or am I in complete control? Do I know that I have a choice right now? What would be the best choice for me? Can I stand on whatever I decide in this moment? Will I regret anything that I'm about to do? Just form your own questions so you can arrive where you need to arrive. Okay? And there's situations in life where you don't have time to ask all of those questions. Well, depending on what the situation is, what I have developed for myself at this stage in my personal journey is if I don't have enough time to decide, then my response is going to be the response that keeps me safe. My response is going to be the response that makes me choose myself. And my response is going to be one that holds my morals, standards, and values in place. And sometimes that's going to be no, period. Full response. Okay? And you have to do that for yourself. And I really wish that that was something that I had in me early in life because I could have avoided a lot of things, but I went through those things. And what I want to share with others is what I got from spending my time in those spaces and places that I didn't need to be in so that I can help somebody else. And how you do that is within a community. You share your experiences, they share theirs with you, and then maybe you can either avoid things, or if you can't avoid something, you can at least draw on information that you have within you to do the best in that moment that you can for yourself. So it's important to have a community. In that community, you also get to exercise that happiness has a social aspect to it. So while I've been extremely happy on my personal journey, improving myself on my own, and I have been extremely happy. I think I need to do a video on this fear that I see a lot of people have of doing things by themselves or on their own, because there are some perks to solo dolo. Trust me, I'm not saying that you don't ever do anything on your own. Flying solo has its perks, but it is very natural, normal, and healthy to need a community. And where you learn to have boundaries with other people is with and around other people. Okay? And we can't control who all those other people show up as. Someone may have a bad day, and you might be crossing paths with that person. That's going to be a moment that will teach you something about yourself and teach you something about other people. And the more moments of those that you have, and you stand in the confidence of you, you won't be my age trying to figure it out, okay? You will have that tool mastered early, and you can use it to avoid getting yourself in all kinds of ridiculous pickles, basically. I mean, some of these pickles, they was some bad pickles, y'all. And I just look back and I'm like, you mean to tell me if I just had some boundaries, I would have never went through that? Wow. You mean to tell me if I had just felt more confident to speak on my behalf and advocate for myself, I could have kept myself from dealing with so much in that situation? Yeah. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about was don't go it alone. Have a community. Find a community. There are so many people out here on the same journey that you're on. The world is now recognizing self care and self love, therapy, taking time for yourself. There's people out here who get it. And just because the people in your life that you have now don't get it and they're not on the path, that doesn't mean you need to stop what you're doing or doubt what you're doing or slow down and wait for them. Go get you a community. Don't think that you have to go through this all by yourself. When we learn things together, we actually learn faster. You do. You learn faster when you're doing it with other people. Think about when you was in school and you had study groups and you had somebody that had a project deadline like you, or you all had the same assignment. When you have discussions and conversations behind what it is that you're learning, you pick up something fast that somebody else caught on to, and vice versa. So learning together is a benefit. Learning on your own, that's great, but learning together, there's a benefit in that as well. So don't feel like you have to do this by yourself. And I think a lot of times I would feel like I had to do things by myself because I didn't have enough like minded people around me. Find you some like minded people. This idea that everybody that we get to know and everybody that we end up trusting has to be somebody that has the same blood of us as us, the same address, grew up in the same neighborhood, or went to the same school. We got to let that go, y'all. We really do. We have to let that go. There are some really amazing people out here, and I have encountered them. These are people that don't know me from a can of paint. And I have a conversation with them and find out that we're on the same page about growth and healing, and walk away with something that elevates me and uplifts me in a way nothing else has. And the wonderful part about this is that these people don't feel like you owe them something afterwards. No one's harassing you, no one's calling you. There's not this climate of lack and manipulation and all this kind of, I mean, trust me, you can get in spaces where that's going on, but when you start to grow and develop and become who you are, you will be able to see when that's going on, and you'll be able to handle those situations when they're in front of you. But you can't be so afraid of that that you don't allow yourself to get to know new people. There are some great people out here. I'm one of them. I'm okay if you're around me for a couple of months and then you go off and do what you got to do for yourself. And if I see you again, I'll be happy to see you again. Tell me all about what you've done. How much have you grown? What have you experienced? You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. We owe ourselves something. And I want to see you Give yourself what you owe you. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I mean, I could go on and on about the subject, but I think that's enough. Get to know yourself. Spend that time getting to know you. But don't neglect the part of being in community where you can be elevated and uplifted, because that is going to also be a necessary part of growing into your power and into a better person, the person that you know that you can be. That's all I had to say for today. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.